there's so much secrecy around this. Couples go through this and you never hear it. And it's just so important for these stories to get out there so that when someone finds themselves in this situation, they know that this is not the end. I'm not the only person who's ever gone through this. And so we're being brave to help those people. And yeah, do you want to get us started?
Yeah. So what I tell pretty much every guy when they first get to the heal, and there are some in this room, is, I'm so sorry that you're here, and I am so, so glad that you're here. Because that's really how I feel about my journey. I hate the pain that my struggle has caused, and I'm so thankful because it's enabled me to relate to and empathize with pretty much every single man that's walked through our doors, regardless of where they are in their recovery journey. So, Lisa and our recovery coaches, our partner coaches can really relate to the partners as well. So it's not just me relating to the guys struggling with, the addiction, the struggle with intimacy disorder. We really have Lisa and our partner coaches that can relate to the lives of spouses because they've been there too.
Yeah, absolutely. A lot of times when we talk to women, it's the first time they've ever spoken to someone who's been in the same situation. And I'm really glad to be able to be that person to let her know that she's not going crazy.
Yeah. And so a little bit of backstory about me. I was really teed up for this struggle. Exposure to porn at an early age, check. Family history of mental health woes and addiction, check. Oldest of 4 kids and kind of a golden child, check. Family focus on being good rather than being real and present. Yep. And of course, we cannot forget confusing sexually charged trauma, my early childhood, right? So when I was getting bullied in 6th grade and discovered pornography, this incredibly powerful way to escape, numb out, to where I really feel safe, I got hooked very quickly. And then when I realized that getting a girlfriend made me feel even better, I was just locked into this thing.
What do they say in the meetings? Aren't we supposed to talk about the solution more than the problem? Because that sounds like a lot of problem.
Yes. So, suffice to say, this thing had a deep hold on me. And we're going to just fast forward, so you guys can figure out what that meant, to 2006 when I went to my first SAA 12-step meeting, Sex Addicts Anonymous. And though I knew I belonged there, I couldn't let go of the shame, which had been a foundational part of my life. So over the next 11 years, I picked up enough white chips to tile the New York subway. I went through sponsor after sponsor. I did multiple IOPs, intensive outpatient programs. I did a weekend intensive in Minnesota in the dead of winter with Dr. Mark Glazer. I tried hypnosis. I tried to use religion to get better. I did church programs, I memorized Bible verses, prayer retreats, and nothing gained traction to help me. I tried to get a woman to fix me. That marriage did not last more than 2 years. Quickly got divorced, and then a year later, I was engaged to this lovely lady.
Yep, and on my end, after my first marriage ended in betrayal, I was determined that I was going to end up with a good, healthy man. And so I did therapy, and I got this great big book on codependency, and it is highlighted for days. But then over the next 3 years, I went on a little over 100 first dates. I'm not lying. Most of Charlotte. And nothing happened. I was just, meeting new people and trying to find the right person for me. And my wisdom and intuition and my skills that I had learned in childhood brought me to this guy as my top choice. And clearly something was off.
Other than being an alcoholic, love addict, porn addict, I was really healthy. So after Lisa and I got married, I continued to get worse. I kept trying to fix myself and failing, and eventually just tried to figure out how to live with it. I just resigned myself to, okay, this is my lot in life. This thing had become my closest confidant, my answer to life stressors, my safe place, and ultimately, it was my best friend. It really was. Deep down, I knew I had become really, really sick, and I did want to heal, but I truly was powerless over this. And the Lord had to take me to get emotional here. The Lord had to take me to some incredibly painful and dark places before I was willing to get 100% honest, full, transparent, honest.
Yeah, so back to what I was saying earlier. 8 years ago, a few weeks before Christmas, on a day like today, we were on a walk together and he dropped the truth bombs of all truth bombs.
I just went full scorched earth. It was a good therapist's worst nightmare. I was sick. I was in an affair that I didn't want to stop. I decided to go to inpatient treatment for this to prove that the feelings that I had for this woman were legitimate and were not a byproduct of my addiction. So I left my wife and my 1-year-old son, and I went 90 days to Hattiesburg, Mississippi, and for the gratitude program. It's a patient treatment program for sex addiction.
They fixed Tiger Woods.
Yes, they did. Debatable. So, and I need to be very clear at this part. Some people absolutely need inpatient treatment. We refer people to inpatient treatment programs all the time. But I don't think I needed to do another trauma egg. I'd already done like 4 of them. So I needed to learn how to do life in recovery. Right? What I needed is how to really be in community, be in authentic connection. And I really got that chance afterwards. We still weren't ready. I was still a hot mess after 90 days. So I went to this little sober living home in Montana. And it was there, living with other men, just as sick as I was, that I finally felt safety, to let people in and really become fully known. Right? And God used the courage and willingness of Jesse, Chris, Ryan, Tom, to let me try on what it felt like to be fully present and with what I was feeling on a daily basis. It was really there that I began to slowly let go of the toxic relationship that I had with my drugs of choice.
Yeah, and while he was prancing around in the mountains of Montana, I had the space to have my own healing journey. And it was a hard time. We had to Airbnb our house to make ends meet. We moved in with my son and I moved in with my parents. Andrew had left for inpatient on Christmas Eve, and so it was a tough time. But I really got to lean in with other women who were going through this, and focused on myself. Realized very quickly that there was something in me that was drawing me to help unhealthy people, and I needed to get to the bottom of that no matter what happened with Andrew. And to be honest, the first marriage died while he was gone, and that was a good thing. It really burnt to the ground while he was gone. But luckily, I got a call. Well, there were a few crazy emails that were sent that I guess took him to his knees. And then I got a call that said, I want to make this work.
And so Lisa came up to Montana and to visit me. And really the time apart that we had to lean into our respective healing journeys allowed us to really let go of the unhealthy relational patterns that we developed while we were together. And so after an additional 3 months at the sober living home, I moved back home. And Lisa now calls me her third husband.
Me too.
Yeah.
Much better.
So after about 2 years of being back together, we were still doing some therapy and really just, still on our recovery journeys. Lisa looked at me one day and said, there needs to be more places like where you went in Montana, but maybe even more specialized to meet the needs of this struggle, and thus room to heal was born.
Not quite.
So I did have some reservations. Like, how in the world could we pull something like this off? Who am I to do it? So we started praying, and really the Lord started opening doors. Room to Heal opened in the spring of 2021. And, our continued vision is a place where men can really, really lean into their recovery journeys, where men can live with mirrors that reflect their own pathology, their own mess back onto them. It's a place where guys can be safe, where their partners can feel safe, because we do have the pragmatic things in place. We do have the things that help get that sobriety that we really do need right right? So that we can move into the deeper work that it takes to heal from this thing. And my life was saved by other men, by being in intimate, healthy relationships with other men, incredibly, incredibly sick men. And it was a beautiful, beautiful time. And so really, at the core, that's what we try to provide. We try to provide this place where men can really, really lean into this confounding struggle, where their partners can feel safe, and where we can help both parties, right, move into their own recovery and hopefully, God willing, come back together as much healthier people and move towards the lives that really they deserve.